Welcome to Case Files, the human factor. We are going to unpack and explore human behavior. And human behavior is fascinating. We're going to look at trauma, victimology, and I'm going to use all of my expertise over the last 25 years to really give you the gift of understanding human behavior and the fascination we've got with psychopathology, crime, victimology, criminal justice, mental health, forensics and statutory cases. And with that, I will, on my own and with the assistance of some of my guest speakers, really give you insight in what the human factor means in our lives and our daily existence. Welcome to the Human Factor. I'm Professor Tanya Robinson, and we are going to look at resilience and grit. So what is resilience and what is grit? It's two different concepts, but I want you to walk away after today and think, if you've gone through something, no matter what that is, if it's a little thing, a little hiccup in life, or something that is more significant, how do you get up again? And they've done a lot of studies, if we look at research studies and literature, on how some people, and how is it possible that some people can't get up and get going on the pathway of life, and how other people have gone through significant life events, but somehow they can just get up and get going again and life continues. Now that is the art of resilience. And some people have got more resilient traits than other people. Some people have got more, and that's where it becomes complicated, but sort of if we look at intergenerational packaging, intergenerational stuff that people have got from previous generations, traits, sort of if we look at epigenetics, so what sits in our genes, that shows sometimes through what we look as humans as being more resilient or not. It's also, if we look at learned behavior, socialization, what we pick up through our lives, that also contributes to resilience. How strong are we? How much motivation do we have? How much long-term grit do we have to fulfill our goals and to get up again? Now, I am passionate about resilience and grit as a concept because I do believe everyone and every human that have gone through something, even how minor it may have been, needs some passion and power to get up and to get going again. Now, life is complicated. We all know that. If it was just a straightforward line, and we knew what was coming, it would have been easy. We perhaps wouldn't have needed so much resilience and strength and power to fight forwards and to go forwards. But we know that life takes a lot of curvy journeys with us. And when we think we're on the top of our game one day, tomorrow we're down and out. We may think that life is good. Tomorrow something happens and life is not so good. And we have a choice. And it's bold to say we have a choice, but I believe that we all have a choice if we are going to stand up and fight through life, or we have a choice that we're going to lie down and we're not going to get up. Now, often it's not that easy. That's a complicated concept. Because if you have developed depression, anxiety, because of a significant life event, it's not just that easy to get up. And people will tell us that. Sometimes when there's been victimization or someone has gone through a displacement of a country or they have lost someone in their life, it is not easy to make the choice and to have the resilience and the long-term grit to get to where you need to be in your life. But you can start slowly to start putting the right things into your life to develop more resilience and to take little steps forward to get where you need to be and where you want to be. May that be for yourself. It would be good if it's for the self, but it would also be good if we look systemically at the people around us that needs us, to give our A game, to sort of create some resilience and to generate some strength to get there. Now, I love, there's a video clip of Denzel Washington falling forwards. He gives a lecture and it talks about falling forwards. And I've seen it a few times and have recommended that to people. If you feel you can't get up, just fall forwards. Just don't fall backwards. And I've seen it in my own life. My goodness, I have wanted to fall backwards so many times in my life. And then I remember that. And I just think to myself, just fall forwards. Whatever you do, just get up. Just do what you have to do today. I have one healthy habit because that will lean to going forwards. And that builds resilience. So resilience is nearly like going to the gym and you get stronger. So it's an exercise, it's a mind exercise that you have to dig deep sometimes to generate that. It's a cognitive thought process. Emotionally, you have to develop emotional intelligence. You have to be able to ground yourself. But through those kind of exercises, you will start generating energy. You will start generating power. And the most important thing is you will start generating a sense of hope. Now, I've seen that we lose hope when we have been battered, when things don't work out the way that it should work out. We just lose that sense of hope. And I want people to think, every patient that walks through my door or case that I sort of manage, I want people to feel that they are able, and it's actional, that they can generate hope. Easier said than done though, because hope doesn't come in a gift box and it's not nicely packaged and here you go, here's your hope. It is absolutely something that you work hard. Now with resilience and grit, it is hard work. We have to every day sort of get up and fight forwards. So it's not just falling, because falling is the beginning stages. It's not that intentional. Fighting forwards is more intentional. There's power, there's sort of resilience to go where you want to be. Now, how do we do that if we don't know where we're going? So there's a step before that people need to activate in their lives when they feel that they've lost everything. Some people have lost everything. Absolutely everything. Totally down and out. And it's not a nice feeling to sit in a situation where one day perhaps you're sitting in your home, the next day something happens, you've lost your home. Now you have to go on. How do you do that? If you look at women in the women's shelters, if you look at some men that are homeless, people are struggling. They've lost everything. If you look at survivors where their whole family has perhaps been killed and it's only one survivor. Think about a car accident. There's only one survivor. All siblings has been passed away. Mom and dad, there's one person left. Tragic things happen. Think about sort of human slavery. People that are displaced, that have been taken to other countries, that are being sex trafficked. Look at drug rings that kids get involved in. Down and out, they've lost everything. Their sense of self. They've lost direction. They've lost their value system. Principles that sort of have guided them. they've lost a sense of hope. How do they fall forwards, fight forwards? There needs to be a plan. There needs to be an action plan. Now, we can't always have an action plan when we struggle with our mental health, but we need to start very micro, very little. If you feel like lying in the bed because you just can't get up, it starts with where you sit up in bed. Just put your feet outside of the bed. You roll out of the bed. Slow things. Feel that you're hoarding everything around you because you just want to feel safe. Just start throwing one thing away. Just get up slowly, taking a little bit of control. Not easy. If you feel that you're crying and lots of tears, I see lots of tears in my job. Been surrounded by lots of tears, but you cry, and one day you stop crying. And you can just stop crying for 5 minutes, brush your teeth, go and sit in the sun. I'm not talking miracles when I'm talking about resilience and grit, but I'm talking about activating that, activating our power, taking control of our sort of hurt bodies, our wounded souls. And we just slowly emerge into our power. It is a process. If we look at some of the research, there's some nations that have got some that's more resilient. It's interesting. You see certain families that are more resilient than other families. Now, with resilience and sort of generating resilience, sometimes a bit unnaturally, it has to be paralleled by habits. Because what happens if we lose? If we lose a sense of self, if we lose our confidence, if we start feeling insecure, we don't know how to put the puzzle pieces together. We don't know how to sort of activate that sense of resilience. So what do we need to do? We need to formulate healthy habits. That's the first thing that goes when people feel that they can't cope anymore. When they start to feel emotionally dysregulated. Don't want to brush my hair. I don't want to sort of put clean clothes on. They start attaching to the wrong things. Start to develop attachments to substances, unhealthy habits. So we need to generate sort of habits that's going to activate resilience and long-term goals and grit. Not very easy when your mental health deteriorates. Now, I am a big believer in a village. So as you know, I come from Africa. We believe in villages. We believe in Ubuntu. We believe in sort of a spirit that sort of we help each other. And sometimes the African culture have been misunderstood. There's a lot of history of it that is not a nice history. It's a dysfunctional history, but Africans have grown through that. And we have developed an interconnectedness of Ubuntu. I help you because you help me. It's a we culture. And other cultures also sort of believe in a spirit of sort of a village mentality. We bring children up in a village. That's what we want to do. Now, with developing grit and resilience and sort of activating ourselves when we struggle with our mental health, we cannot do that on our own. It's difficult. It's not impossible, but it is difficult. So we need to generate and we need to activate some support structures, some villages that can help us. A friend or two, not 20 friends, just a few, your people. You often hear people say, but I've got my people. Create some people that you know are going to be there for you. That generates strength. It generates positive energy. And at the end, it generates joy. I often see that people don't know how to feel joyful. We lose our sense of joy when we've been harmed. We lose our sense of joy when we go through life struggles that is difficult. And when we have a village mentality, it gives us a sense of joy, a sense of belonging that is critical when we look at how it is to develop resilience. It's critical how to activate power. And I define this kind of power as a positive power, a strength. It's to generate happiness, joy, and interconnectedness, a sense of healing. We need some activated power inside of us internally, that we can regulate our bodies, that we can regulate some of the stresses and the wounds that sits in us through mechanisms of resilience. That is something that we can teach ourselves with the help of a professional, or through readings, or through thinking patterns, to create that pathway. So it's a different neuro pathway that we are creating, that we get to a place where we actually want to be. Now, as what I've said, we often don't know where we want to be. If you ask someone that has been, that has lost a lot of things, and you ask them, what do they want? Or who are they? They just don't know. Because what happens to sort of us as humans, we get confused. And confusion is, I always say, confusion is not a good feeling. Because when you feel confused, you don't know where you're heading. Because when you're confused, you don't know, should you turn left, right? Where should I go? We need a compass that directs us to a place where we feel we can get some safety, some joy, and we can feel that our mental health can regenerate to sort of a positive space, and that our life is engineered in a way that we feel that we can live life, and we can have a good life. If you ask most people, what do they want? They want to be happy, they want to have a good life, and they don't want to feel wounded. And if we look at Maslow's hierarchy of self-actualization, we know it's human nature for people to want to feel a sense of belonging, and they want their primitive needs met. They want to feel loved for, they want to feel cared for, and they want to self-actualize. Now, if we develop resilience, we develop strength, we will self-actualize throughout our lives to get to a place where we know ourselves, we know how our life needs to look, and we start like an engineer, we start engineering our life the way that it should look. And when I say it should look a certain way, we don't always have choices, but we do have a choice of how we deal with a certain situation. For example, if you have been incarcerated, you perhaps don't have the choice to leave, but you have a choice to, how do you manage that? How do you live your life? What is the journey there? If you have you've lost your home, for example, you can't perhaps go and buy a new home because you've got financial constraints. But what is realistic? That's where the radical acceptance come in. What is realistic? How do you build and generate power through accepting, but to make and navigate changes to get to where you can be under those circumstances, accepting certain things? And how do you emotionally regulate yourself? So if we look at resilience, if we look at the concept of grit, if we look at it in a sense of positive power, and we put all of those sort of components together, a human does have the ability, even with mental health struggles, to choose and to just in their capacity generate what they can to just fall forward slowly and then starts fighting forwards when you start generating that sort of inner power. So the concept of resilience, very important in navigating our lives to the best of our capabilities. It's good to read about resilience. It's good to understand the concept of grit, of positive power and generating energy. So very important topic for people when they start looking at how to re-navigate their life when something may have happened that have harmed them, or when they have to redirect in their life going forwards.